Hey, this is Peter Dankelson. Welcome back to the Influences and Inspiration series. And this week, we're talking about Slash. In this series, the main things that I want you guys to be able to take away from this is, have a couple new riffs or licks up your sleeve from these artists. And in this case, it's interesting because maybe it won't be exactly how the lick is played, but the main thing I want you guys to take away is more of the idea of how it's played, and maybe you guys could take it, expand upon it further, and kind of put your own spin on it. Which is always the fun part, right? Taking something that somebody else has done and seeing how you can put your own spin on it, add it to your arsenal, and kind of make it your own, right? And specifically with these slash licks, they're going to kind of focus on some stuff that I heard from the recent Serpent Festival tour. And the new blues album is fantastic. It's been on repeat since it came out. Um, Love Slash's take on all these tunes. And the first song, or the first lick that I want to break down for you guys, it's actually a riff, maybe not a specific lick, but it looked like it was the opener for the show. It's a Slash's take on the song "Parchment Farm," which I know has been covered. It's an old blues classic, right? But it's been covered by Cactus has a pretty crazy version of it. Of course, John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, and well, let's jump right into it, and I'll show you guys this riff. So the Slash's take on Parchment Farm, something that I kind of noticed that I thought was really cool. I heard Slash's take on the song, and I was kind of going back and listening to, kind of some of the other kind of popular versions of the song, right? Like, of course, there's the Cactus version, which is pretty killer. It's like a barn burner, right? It's very fast, very in your face. Um, and then, of course, the other version is from John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. And something that I noticed that I think is kind of cool. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I mean, I don't know. You can call me crazy if you want, but I was listening to the John Mayall version, and I think Slash actually took the harmonica riff and actually applied it as a guitar riff, kind of put his own spin on it, which I think is pretty cool. But no, really, the main thing with this riff is you can kind of take it. It's one of those kind of fun rotating riffs that just kind of circles around. You can just kind of hold that groove and jam over. And it kind of jumps up a couple of keys too. Like every time the main kind of verse ends, it goes up a half step, and it just kind of keeps going and going until it kind of builds back down. It's really fun. But the riff is really fun. Double stops, and it goes something like this. So it's Parchment Farm. It's based around these double stops in the key of G, right? So you're going to do a G double stop on the fifth fret. So that double stop is on the A and D strings, right? So, and then you're going to do a double stop on the D and G strings on the third fret, and then a double stop on the D and G strings on the fifth fret. And then the riff is kind of like this. And then when you kind of go back to that third fret double stop, you're gonna kind of bend it a little bit, and then you're gonna resolve it with that what's that fifth fret on the D string, so G. So the whole riff together kind of sounds something like this. So it's just kind of after you kind of hit the doubles, the double stop on the A and D kind of kicks it off, but then it's just bouncing around from that that G note to the double stop. So and that's pretty much the whole riff. And it's kind of cool too, because if you listen to like a full video on YouTube, you can search up a bunch of different performances. it kind of jumps up a half step, a little bit each time, and for the solos and stuff. It's a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool jam. Definitely. If you're in a band, you could totally jam it in the garage or do like a blues jam live. It's pretty cool. The second lick that I want to show you guys is from a performance at the Gibson Garage that the band did before the tour started. You can find the whole performance on YouTube. It's a clip from Oh Well, and Slash is jamming, and he does this really cool, kind of really fast hammer on pull off lick. So it's a really fast phrase. I'm not gonna lie, I have trouble getting the whole thing together or up to speed, but the idea behind it is really cool. And it was one of those things, I'm sure, Slash is definitely one of those guitar players. I'm kind of the same way too. It's just like in the moment, you're going for it. You're not really thinking about much. It's just kind of going for it, and whatever happens, happens. There's kind of that fun danger to it. It could go off the rails, um, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, I'll break down this lick for you, kind of show you the main idea behind it. Maybe not necessarily the speed, but it's something to work up towards. So you can really hear in that, like, Slash is going for it. It's a really fast riff. Not gonna lie, I have a bit of trouble playing it up to speed, but the main point isn't necessarily the speed of it. I'll keep working up to getting to that speed. But really, the idea behind the lick, just that cool repeating lick, and then kind of how it resolves a little bit is a lot of fun. So breaking it down, it goes something like this. So again, nothing's changed. We're still a half step down. This time we're in the key of E. So, like I said, this looks kind of nuts. It starts with the second fret on the D string, and then so that E note, right? So you're gonna hit that, and then you'll hit the open string. So, and then you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna do the same thing on the A string, right? So, but you're gonna do that twice. So it's something like this, and then you'll resolve it on the third fret on the E string, and then hit that and open. I mean, the whole thing's kind of chaotic. So, I mean, I guess the more hammer-ons and pull-offs you can do, the better. It isn't necessarily picked as much. But yeah, it's kind of a chaotic phrase, which, is kind of the fun of it, right? So you're going to do this phrase 6 times. So. And then for kind of the last bit of the phrase, it goes something like this. Like I said, it's kind of chaotic, but the main notes that you need to hit is it's the open A, and then the first fret hammer on pull off, and then you're gonna jump back to that third fret on the E. So, and then you'll do that like 3 times. So, and so that kind of sounds like he resolves it with the open G. So that whole kind of phrase together sounds something like this. So putting it all together, the whole phrase sounds something like this. Like I said, it's one of those improvised things that I don't think Slash was really thinking of much. It's just kind of like one of those things you just hit it, you just kind of go for it, and whatever happens, happens. So if you don't quite get it note for note, or don't quite get it up to speed, that's all right. It's more of the idea of what's kind of going on with this lick, how you can kind of maybe twist it a little bit. It's kind of in that E scale, right? You can kind of throw some other notes in there if you want, kind of take it and make it your own. Like here, I'll show you. I mean, if you want to get kind of chaotic with the hammer-ons and pull-offs, you could do something like. So, it's really kind of you can kind of think of it as a template. Once you kind of get that run kind of built up to speed, you can kind of throw some different notes in there from the blues scale, from that second half of the lick, or you can kind of go up and down the scale if you want. There's kind of kind of some different places you can take it. It's pretty cool and pretty chaotic. All right, and this last lick that I want to show you guys is a really cool basically it's kind of a turnaround, like, at the end of a 12-bar blues that Slash does on Killing Floor. Um, I'm positive. I know it's on the original recording of the tune. He kind of, it's one of those kind of key parts of the solo that he keeps in the live performances as well. So on the record, it's in standard tuning, but live, Slash is tune and a half step. Um, and this riff is kind of a doozy. I'll try and explain it as best as I can. It's really cool. It's a really cool turnaround lick. It's, for lack of a better word, it's super slashy. I think it's got some really kind of, cool, if you're a fan, it's definitely one of those kind of, you can kind of, it's almost like a Paradise City kind of thing. I'll show you what I mean. So let's start breaking down this monster. It's really cool. It's a really cool turnaround. And yeah, I'll try and break it down as best as I can for you. It's classic Slash, if that makes sense. So this, like, it starts with the 11th fret on the G string to the 13th fret. So, and then the 12th fret on the B. But now you're going to go back down on the G string chromatically. So 13, 12, 11. And then 14 on the D. So, and then you're going to do that chromatic thing again, but instead of the 12th fret on the B, you're going to hit the 12th fret on the E. So, kind of putting all of that together, you get something that sounds like this. Yep. So after you hit the 14th fret on the D string, you're actually going to take this whole kind of second half of that phrase and move it back 2 frets. So now you're going to play it in D. So basically it's going to sound something like this, right? So the last half of that is, and then now you got, you bounce it back 2 frets, you get, so, sound a little bit familiar? Is it kind of something you've heard Slash do before? Like I said, pretty cool phrase that Slash always kind of seems to have in his back pocket. It's really cool. It's a really neat sound. So kind of to show you again. And then there's kind of the break before it kind of goes back into the, before the, so this next bit here, or this last part, is this cool, kind of end of phrase. It's the big break before, the next round of the bar starts up again, or the one starts up again. But so after the now you get this cool kind of now you're back in A, right? So it's kind of where those breaks are. You get this. So I mean that's just like classic BB King, major A kind of blues thing, right? So that's a full bend on the 12th fret of the B, and then chromatic 9, 10, 11, 12. So, and then back to the 12th fret on the B, and then you're going to hit that 12th on the E. Hold and release that 12th fret on the B. So, tenth fret on the B. And then this is where kind of that last part's really cool. So, you got that classic kind of major BB King box, kind of sound, right? And now it kind of resolves on E, the 5, right? So So you're gonna kind of, it's a little bit of a weird jump, but it's pretty cool. So after that, you're gonna kind of jump up to the G string on the 11th fret, full bend there, and then the, kind of that classic majory kind of sound, right, with the 12th fret of the B to 9 on the G, and then 11 on the D, 11 on the D, and then 11 on G. Then, kind of that roll, right? Then it resolves on the ninth fret of the G. So kind of putting that whole thing together, it's that. Then kind of putting that whole last phrase together, you get something that sounds like this. And then that wraps up the whole, that's the whole turnaround. Then, you go back into the, then you just kind of go doing whatever, with the next go around. But just to kind of, put everything together, this whole turnaround phrase goes something like this. It's a really cool turnaround. I mean, you could move it around at different keys as well. It might take a little bit of practice because there's kind of a bunch of different frets you're moving around on. But it's a really cool sound. It's kind of a clever way of moving around, with some of the different phrases, or kind of making good use of some of these boxes and major and minor pentatonic, which I mean, Slash is definitely a master of, right? That whole kind of bluesy rock sound. So yeah, it's a really cool turnaround, really kind of clever. Like I said, classic Slash phrasing, lots of fun to play. Definitely, steal this and kind of, mess around with it a little bit. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up that phrase. I really hope that you enjoyed breaking down and learning these licks today. Slash always has a ton of fun stuff. Definitely just go crazy on YouTube and look up any performance. There's always something, unexpected in his playing that'll pop out and grab your attention. At least it does for me. Slash has always been a really big inspiration. If you haven't listened to the new blues album, Orgy of the Damned, quite a title. But if you haven't listened to the new record, definitely check it out. It's really cool hearing Slash's take on a bunch of these, killer classic blues tunes like Killing Floor or Oh Well, or, like Papa Was a Rolling Stone, all of these great songs. Really fun record. And check out some of the videos here on YouTube of, some of the show dates and stuff. You can, the band was on fire. You could tell that they were having a good time. So, really hope that you enjoyed, taking some of these licks. I hope that you have fun and you're able to apply these licks to your own playing, or, like with Parchment Farm, you can jam it with a band and kind of have fun with that arrangement. Um, so yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed breaking down these Slash licks today. Slash has always been one of my biggest influences and inspirations as a guitar player. And please be sure to like and subscribe. And feel free to drop a comment below with some of your favorite artists that you would like to see featured in this series. It's been a lot of fun to do. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Keep on rocking.